To finish off the kitchen and to complete this whole area, let's talk countertops now with Ray Coach. Good to see you, Ray.
Hey there, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. Now, there are so many different materials that we can use for a kitchen countertop. So explain to me what you've got all here. Lots of samples.
Well, obviously, price is the biggest factor when you talk about materials. For years and years, laminate has been the standard. Then came along solid surface and granite. Everybody wants granite today, but the actual substitute for it is solid surface.
Okay.
Solid surface is less expensive and more versatile. You can do a lot more with solid surface than you can with granite.
Okay.
However, it does range in price from anywhere from $15 to $30 a square foot. That's before you start really working on it.
Okay.
However, another thing about plastic laminates that we may have forgotten is now they're completely recycled material.
Green product.
Green
Okay.
products, exactly. It would probably startle you to know that this was actually made out of crushed banana peels.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Oh, wow.
And guess what?
What?
It's still expensive. Speaking of green materials,
Okay.
I also have some bamboo with us today that we've been using a lot lately. Bamboo rejuvenates itself off and very quickly, over and over again.
So it's a good product to use. So in
Very
the wild,
good,
it
very
grows
good product.
back.
In the wild, it grows like crazy, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay, great. And what do we have up here? Lots of colors. I like looking at the samples.
Okay, well, some of these samples will look fantastic in your house, but then there's other samples that will look really bad in your house. You could see you're probably scratching your head saying, why would I go with something so dark and with all that gold? And it all depends on the background. In a lot of commercial atmospheres, this is actually far more appropriate than a regular piece of granite-looking solid surface. Now, of course, the price difference, quite a bit.
Yeah.
At least $10 to $15 a square foot more.
Okay.
And if you start adding up square footage, you can spend a lot of money.
That gets to be a lot. And then what about maintenance too? With something like that, don't you have to seal it a lot?
Solid surface isn't bad, and it's also repairable. That's the one nice thing about it. You could do a lot of things to solid surface that you do to regular wood products. However, you can't really do that with granite products. So as far as maintenance goes, once you leave the shop with this stuff, at home you could get it resanded a little bit down the line, maybe 5–10 years down the line, but on a yearly basis there's not a lot you have to do with it.
Okay, well that's great for families, you know,
Yes.
especially with lots of kids and lots of traffic in the kitchen and stuff and bathrooms.
Therefore, you don't want to have that glossy finish. They'll show up scratches very easy. Always
More
pick
matte.
a matte finish, that's right.
Okay. Ray, it seems like with countertops there are so many specialties that you can do, but first, what exactly is an inlay?
Well, an inlay is where we're going to remove some material and replace it with some other type of material.
Okay, so like what we see right here.
What we see right here is a router bit that's actually taking this material out. That's the actual router bit itself.
Okay.
But once it's out, you got to fill it back up with something.
Okay.
That's usually either the same material, only a much skinnier piece, and probably a different color, or a resin liquid itself that goes in there wet and winds up hardening over time.
Okay.
And then you sand it flush and you have a perfectly smooth surface.
I love this. And then even with the squares here that are different colors, you know, when I take a look at that, it seems like this whole inlay process is really labor intensive. Am I right?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it used to be a lot more difficult before today's technology.
Okay. Well, let's take this away. What do you got?
A long time ago, to actually produce these inlays, we had to clamp templates into place and actually follow them with a router.
Wow.
You didn't have much room for error. We would have to route all the way across and all the way through. And if you made a mistake on this material, it's a very expensive mistake. However, now we have a machine that takes care of those problems for us.
Ray, so this is where the whole creative process begins, huh? Right here with this.
That's correct. This is the technology that we have today that we didn't have a while ago, where we could speed things up quite a bit.
Look at that, built to last.
Built
In
to
honor of
last.
me today, huh?
Just because you were coming today.
Now, do you create the different designs? Because I'm sure in today's world, you can practically design anything, can't you?
That's correct.
Okay.
A nice feature about the technology that we have today is our mistakes are caught way in advance. If we do make a mistake, we catch them before we ever send them to a machine.
Okay.
All we have to do is simulate what we're doing ahead of time.
Okay, so like that would be, you know, a countertop or whatever material you're working with.
Whatever design that you can come up with that you could draw over here, the machine will produce in the order that you tell it to. And through this software, we draw whatever we want, and then we send that numeric code into the machine that's behind me.
So Ray, coming off the CNC machine, we've got a finished built to last sign. So what do you look for from here after it's off the machine?
Well, we want to make sure that all of our edges cut where we wanted them to. That's real important. Every now and then, you still could get something go wrong along one of these straight edges, or maybe a letter's smaller than what you were after. But very rarely does that machine make mistakes. That's one of the beautiful parts about it. However, the only thing left to scream about, all we got to do is mount this now to any substrate that you need. In our case, a black background, which happens to be laminate on top of a piece of MDF fiberboard, which is nothing more than a substrate and gives it that background. From there, I would actually, if you would help me, I would build some kind of frame to go around the whole thing. And this is more of what you see when you think of built to last.
Yeah. So this is a sign, and then getting back to the CNC machine, that really is so useful for so many different things, because we were talking about inlays first.
That's right.
So it can make signs, inlays, all different kinds of things.
I was fortunate enough to actually run an inlay back there, and this is the exact same artwork that we ran before. There's nothing different. A different tool that makes it much less deep, okay? And then we're going to fill this with something afterwards, which is actually what I'm going to do right now, just so you know, this isn't really magic or anything out of this world. It's relatively simple.
And now this is resin.
This is a resin. There's lots of them to choose from in lots of colors. You got to be careful of the drying time. Some dry quick, some dry slow, but they all do the same thing. They bring out that groove that you put in there. And it doesn't take very long. This stuff in particular will dry within 30 seconds on us. So we really do got to move relatively quick here. And I did do this on a piece of solid surface. And whenever we work with solid surface, we have to use alcohol, denatured alcohol, to take off the excess that we don't want.
Wow, look at that. Look at that coming up. That is so, you can really see the letters now.
And you could put any design in there that you want. It's not limited to letters or anything of the such. You can, if you could design it, you can cut it on a CNC machine.
So that's where the whole creative thing comes in, and that's really your expertise. I mean, you've been doing this a very long time. How many years of experience do you have in?
I started in 1980. So
wow.
Let's do the math. Yeah, we're getting old.
No.
But it wasn't this easy in 1980, I'll tell you that. That CNC machine was nowhere near as advanced as it is now.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Some
You're welcome.
great information. We enjoyed it.
You're welcome.